Now, the T-Mobile-Sprint merger has run into yet another hurdle as 10 state attorneys general have now filed a lawsuit to block that $26 billion deal. Oh boy, have we been waiting for these companies to merge for over, 2 years. California and New York are leading this lawsuit and allege that a merger of these two carriers would drive up the price of cell phone service, result in a loss of jobs, and would slow innovation. Alexis Keenan joins us now with more. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, good morning.
What's going on here, and will this actually stop the merger? I feel like we have been hearing forever.
It's a long road,
the fact that
right?
T-Mobile and Sprint really want to merge.
It's been since 2013 at least.
Yeah, a long time because, look, there was an effort by Sprint and T-Mobile and AT&T to merge. Then there was a resurgence with AT&T and T-Mobile. Now here we are again with this under the Trump administration trying to effectuate this. Right now, the FCC has 5 commissioners, 3 of which have expressed some support for this. Okay. But the problem with this lawsuit is the buck doesn't stop with, the FCC. It also has to have approval by the DOJ. And this lawsuit will really be the controlling factor, even regardless of whether the DOJ says it's okay.
Now, what's interesting about this particular lawsuit is it's filed by 10 Democratic states attorneys general.
It is.
And so I think the interesting side of this is that story that T-Mobile executives spent, 50 some odd nights in Trump hotel properties.
Yes.
And so it seems like these companies...
They greased the wrong people.
John Legere kind of got too clever by half, right? He sort of said, well, I'll just butter up Donald Trump and not really thinking through that, as you mentioned,
could happen.
They can essentially, and I guess the question legally is, what would their motion be that makes this merger untenable, even if the FCC kind of gives it the go-ahead? What exactly are they challenging this?
So they're asking for an injunction, and they want the court to say that this violates antitrust laws. They say that it will reduce competition, innovation, the quality of service, and they're pointing to Sprint and T-Mobile as being 2 of the lower-cost carriers for consumers. And they're saying if that competition goes away, and now we have the big 3, if you look at the numbers you have, if this deal would be approved, the joint merged company would rival Verizon and AT&T. Right now, Verizon has 154 million subscribers, AT&T with 150 million, T-Mobile is at 77 million, and Sprint is at 53. So if you combine the 2 and you end up with approximately 130, though the complaint says that the new company would actually have more subscribers than Verizon and AT&T. I don't know if that's necessarily accurate. I think we'd be somewhere in the ballpark of even, a third. Right. But that's their argument, is that this will really deplete access for those who are in underserved and rural communities and need that low-cost service as well.
Isn't there an argument for the opposite, because there are a lot of coverage issues for folks who do have Sprint or T-Mobile? Yeah, that hopefully once it's merged, they have more access when they're in Nebraska versus New York versus California. Is there that argument there? And that's basically the conceit of this merger in the first place.
Right. So Sprint and T-Mobile have already made some concessions to the FCC, saying that we will agree to implement 5G technology collectively for 97% of the United States territory within 3 years. They also say that they will not raise prices during that time frame. And then they say that it will reach 99% coverage with 5G within the next 6 years. So there is the argument on that side that this is opening the door and maybe not closing it for rural communities and perhaps low-income users as well.
I'll tell you what is convincing among those 3 things I read in the intro of the possible results of allowing them to merge. One that certainly is true, cutting jobs. Of course they're going to cut jobs. That's what happens. You merge and then you cut, you slash. Especially if they need to keep prices low at the beginning.
Right, so you have the Attorney General saying that this is going to cost something around 30,000 jobs, and then you have the company saying that no, it's going to create 200,000 jobs because we will need more employees to implement the 5G technology. Yeah, big question marks there.
All right, Alexis, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Good stuff.